Welcome back to the Get Out Deck Guy show. I'm your old original Get Out Deck Guy, Steve Rhode. And with me, as always, is the new original, more original Get Out Deck Guy, Damon Day. Say hello, Damon.
How's everyone doing?
Well, today we're going to talk about the dreaded I'll figure it out myself trap, or I'll figure it out my damn self.
Yeah.
You know, people,
I'm a grown-ass man. I can figure this out.
Yeah, it's only debt. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you know what? You're smart. You're successful. You've solved a lot of complex problems in your life. Even at your job, people look up to you because you know what's going on. So why would you need help getting out of debt? That's stupid, right? Anybody can figure it out, right? You can figure out debt on your own. Well, maybe, but probably not. And today, we want to talk about the while I'll figure it out myself mentality, which serves you so well in most areas of your life, might be the absolute thing that's keeping you stuck in this debt rut that you're in. Before we get to that, Damon, let's talk about latest posts that are out on my getoutofdebt.org website. I've been a posting fool lately, and there are some stories that caught your attention.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff on there, but I've got three picked out today. The one I wanted to start with is one that I hear almost every client, every person that calls has this issue. And the title of the article is Personal Loans Are Booming, When Consolidation Helps and When It Doesn't. And when we're talking about do-it-yourself traps, this actually really ties in because I'll get a consolidation loan at a lower rate to pay off these credit cards is one of the biggest.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself to get out of debt traps that I see. I'm not saying it can't work, but most of the time it's just a trap because people are focused on the wrong thing. They're focused on it's going to lower my rate.
Yeah.
And they don't focus on it's still going to choke off my cash flow and put me in a place where I'm going to be right back to having to use my credit cards again. And before I know it, I still have the loan that I got out to pay off the credit cards. And now I have debt back on the credit cards.
Yeah, the problem is the marketing is, hey, consolidate your debt, get one lower rate, pay off your cards faster. The reality is, hey, sucker. Come here.
You're already drowning. Shift it over here so we can get a whole bunch of payments for a while. And then we'll just help you kick the can down the road. So you'll just be drowning in a bigger damn puddle later. But in the meantime, we'll make a whole bunch of money off you.
Yeah, that marketing is not as good.
Yeah. And before we dive into this article real quick, I will say, if you are in debt and you're thinking about, I'll fix it with a consolidation loan, schedule a call with me first.
Yeah.
Let's talk it through, because honestly, sometimes there's great reasons to get a consolidation loan, but using that money dollar for dollar to pay off credit card debt is not always the best use of that money. So before you get the loan and do it and do something you can't undo, call me first. So many people call me after they've done it. And it's like, yeah, well, I've got this loan and I've got all this credit card debt again. Can I still fix it? Yeah, I can. But it's a lot harder and a lot more expensive than if you would have called me and we had a plan before you just grabbed the loan thinking this is the right way to fix it and tried to do it yourself.
Yeah, you don't need to double down.
Yourself is almost always more expensive because you don't know what you don't know.
So you can get in touch with Damon by going to his website, damonday, DAMONDAY.com. Don't hesitate to reach out. He's not scary. He sounds exactly like you hear right here on the podcast. You'll hear that same voice on the phone.
Except my voice is not always this raspy. I'm on the tail end of a cough. So I might sound a little different by the time you schedule a call, actually.
Yeah, my voice is a little raspy too. I'm undecided between these two things on my desk if one of them will help, either a French fry or a Twizzler.
Neither
Oh,
one of those will help.
Damn.
Steve, what you need to do is you need to throw a 48-hour fast at that sickness, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you, I did it. I got over it so quick. I'm like, oh, I'm getting sick. I'm going on a fast. Boom. About 30 hours later, I'm like, dude, I'm actually feeling quite decent. So, and
All
I
right.
know I got the sickness from my buddy who he had it 5 days before I did, much more severe than I did.
Yeah.
I just had the cough. And even though I still sound raspy, he's still coughing more than I am. And I was able to kick this thing's butt in about 48 hours with a fast. Telling you.
Hey, that was
Telling
fast.
you. The fast was fast. It only lasted 48 hours.
That's incredible how it did that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about who's taking out these loans, because the figure from this story that struck me most was that it's the subprime people who are taking out more and more loans. Subprime origination on these debt consolidation loans went up 32% year over year. That's a big number.
Yeah. Well, and this is where people are turning to get cash. I mean, with inflation and everything that's going on and credit cards are getting maxed out, they can't afford the payments. And this is the problem. They think, oh, I'll get a consolidation loan and that'll fix it. But the underlying issue is you've got more money going out than you've got coming in. And the biggest trap on these consolidation loans that people never think about, the amortization, meaning that the time that you're going to pay back this loan is only usually over 5 years. So when you take this loan and you pay off credit card debt, even if it's at a lower interest rate, oftentimes the payments for that consolidation loan are now bigger than the minimum payments were on the credit cards that you consolidated off, because those credit cards were amortized over 15 years or 20 years or whatever. So now you've got this new loan at what you think is better because it's a new lower rate, but your cash flow is just as bad, or lack thereof. Your negative cash flow is just as bad, if not worse, than it was before. And if that didn't get addressed, you're still in the same problem. The debt was just the symptom.
Right, exactly.
The problem was the cash flow, and you didn't fix that. So it's no wonder that within 6 months or a year, you are going to be back in that credit card debt again. But this time, the problem is exacerbated because now you've got a $700 a month personal loan payment on top of the new minimum payments again for the debt.
And
that's why it's a trap.
What makes this even harder for people that have higher incomes making good money is it's just easier to get the loan, so it's easier to fall into the trap. Now, so what are most people doing with these types of loans? 40% are consolidating debts, exactly what we've been talking to. 11% are paying off credit cards. 9% are covering everyday bills. And 7% are thinking about home improvements. But the majority of that is they're all trying to tackle a debt situation, and it just multiplies it.
Yeah. And we're not saying consolidation loans are bad in general, like just don't ever get them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's definitely good reasons to get consolidation loans, but what most people do with the money is not a good solution for solving their problem. They're trying to address the symptom. They got a cough, so they're just sucking on a cough drop.
Right.
They're not throwing a 48-hour fast at it, right, Steve?
That's a good analogy. I like that.
There you go. I just made that up on the spot. I'll be here all night.
What's the next story? Oh, if you want to know more about it, go to getoutdebt.org and look for the story Personal Loan. Jeez. These new lips.
What are you doing in your booth, Steve?
These new lips are not working. Look for the story Personal Loans Are Booming. All right. So what's the next story that caught your eye? What?
Get out of debt.org and the loop.
Jeez. That's why I'm the older, moldy get out that guy.
Yeah. You need to throw a 48-hour fast at that.
Okay, I got it.
People are going to be Googling benefits of 48-hour fast.
It's not getting out of debt, that's for sure.
And most of them will be like, are you saying you didn't eat anything but drank water for 48 hours? Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I do that every week, actually. Mm-hmm. And that's even shorter than the 72-hour one I usually do to start a month. Hey, it only seems hard until you do it. Then you go, wow, that was quite pleasant. Okay.
I'll eat a French fry while you're telling them about your fast.
All right, next story, and this is a big one. It will pertain to those of you that have businesses, but Steve and I have been seeing this for over at least a decade now, Steve. These loans, these merchant cash advances. So the article is merchant cash advances are driving small businesses into bankruptcy. And for those of you that don't know what these are, it's essentially like a payday loan for a business.
Yeah.
And it is horrible, and we'll get into it in a second, but they create vicious cycles for businesses from if you notice, every time we talk about debt, we always talk about cash flow because that's where the debt problem comes from.
Right.
But these are a trap 100%. If you are short on cash and you're like, I'm going to go to one of these MCAs and I'm just going to borrow money. I'm going to fix it next month. I'm going to get out of it. There's a good chance you could be looking at a bankruptcy eventually because these things are absolute nightmares where they will latch onto your future cash flow.
They'll suck you dry.
And then that's why the lube's there. And then force you to get another one and another one and another one trying to bail the sinking ship. So if you're involved in this loop right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're considering getting involved in this loop, just know it's very murky waters that you're getting into with these merchant cash advances. So, Steve, how do these things work and why are they different than loans according to the people that issue them? I don't want to say, the lenders because they claim they're not lenders.
Well, it's one of these things where this is a business transaction. I'm doing air quotes because, if you're a sole proprietor, but you're still classified as a business, there are different rules that apply between consumer transactions and business transactions. So this has been kind of a big loophole over many years, considered to be a more sophisticated transaction so that you as a business are supposed to know better. So here's how it works.
Yeah.
MCA funders, merchant cash advance funders, charge a factor rate. They don't say it's an interest rate. They call it a factor rate. And it's typically between 1.1 to 1.5 times what you borrow. So let's just use round numbers. If you took $100,000, you're going to repay like up to $150,000 with daily or weekly automatic withdrawals from your business bank account. That turns out to be 100 or 200% annual rate. But the part that really sinks people is, again, this is that whole all I need is a loan thing. They take the loan and, Damon, over the years...
Not a loan. They're purchasing future receivables. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
we're not loaning you any money.
Absolutely. But you and I have both had clients over the years that have had daily withdrawals from their business accounts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they latch onto your actual cash flow and they get their money before you do.
I was eating a fry.
Well, start now, Steve. 48 hours.
I thought you were going, longer. I thought you.
I can tell you absolutely. These MCAs, they are 10 toes in and standing on business, right? I mean, they cloak themselves in this whole, we're only working with businesses. This isn't a loan. They do whatever they can to try to skirt any laws that are there to protect consumers because an actual bank could not do what these guys are doing to people.
Right.
So when we talk about the 100% interest rate, 200% interest rate, they don't call it an interest rate. They just say, no, it's a factor. We're purchasing future receivables. And what that means is as soon as you get that deal, it gives you that cash now to make your payroll or whatever. But if you're not, predicting that if your revenue's not about to spike, that's just going to give you a temporary shot in the arm, allow you to fight another 30, 60 days or whatever it is. And then before you know it, it's like, okay, fine. Yeah, I got that money. Now that money's gone. Revenue hasn't picked up, but now they're taking $1,000 a week directly from my receivables. And so now that's $4,000 a month short I am moving forward. So now it's even worse now. That money I got was gone. That was great. It helped me out. But now I've got this monkey on my back for $4,000 a month. Revenue hasn't picked up. Now what do? I'm going to miss payroll again.
You need another MCA. Yeah.
I got to go back to this company or a different company. And then they're going to do the same thing. And you stack and you stack and you stack. And even if revenue does start to get better, if it doesn't grow faster than your MCA stack, you are quickly running to a Chapter 11. Very likely.
Hey, do you help people with MCA problems?
I can help them overall. I don't get involved in negotiating with MCAs because they're bastards.
Yeah.
But I can help with advice on how to deal with them. And sometimes a lot of times I can help because it's not just the MCAs we're dealing with. It's a lot of things. So sometimes there's things that we can do to quickly free up some cash flow in the short term so we can at least get the MCA off their back, get out in front of it. And they're like, okay, my bad, we got that done. They're out. We're not going to deal with them again. Sometimes I can do some negotiating with the MCAs, but they don't negotiate like consumer credit cards and personal loans.
No.
Because they don't have to. They're not required to follow the same thing. So if you have MCAs, yes, I can still help you, but and then I can refer you to places that could help you directly with the MCAs that deal with them all the time. Or it may be that, a bankruptcy is the right remedy for that. So yes, the short answer is yes, I can help if you have MCAs, but not often directly with the MCAs, but I can still potentially get you out of that overall problem that you're in.
It's interesting, both the personal loan story and this MCA story both fall into the topic of today's podcast, why smart people think they can DIY their way out.
Yeah.
But they're both, just good examples of, hey, this seems logical, but it's the worst thing you can do.
Well, oftentimes, and I'm not judging because I've done it myself. How do you think I've learned all this stuff?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people DIY themselves into the problem, not out of the problem.
That's true. Absolutely true.
We're all experts at DIY into it. I've been there.
Yeah.
I could DIY into a problem as good as anyone.
Yeah, but you know what? Every time I do something stupid, I always say to myself, you know what? There's no sense wasting a perfectly good mistake. Let's tell somebody else about our experience and help them avoid it.
100%. It's like, well, this didn't work out like I planned it. How do I fix it now?
Yep.
Okay.
What's the third story?
Let's do better moving forward.
What's the third story?
Third story. This one's just more of a PSA.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it, and it is super important because I get this actually more often than I would assume I would get it when people call me. And that is, the title is Closing a Credit Card Account Feels Like the Right Move, but here's why the math disagrees. And this is something that I see a lot when people are, again, back to our theme, DIYing their way out of debt.
Yeah.
They think, okay, I've got all these cards. I'm going to get these cards paid off and I'm going to close them.
I'm going to cut them
so
up.
I don't use them again. Cut them up. And I hear that a lot. And it's like, no, do not do that. Pay them off. Fine. Do not close them. To just leave them open. I know Dave Ramsey would get pissed at that advice, but, if you want to hurt your credit more, then close them. And usually people are always worried about their credit when they call me. They're, how do I fix this without hurting my credit?
Yeah. And they've already closed cards.
Yeah. It's like, well, one way you can try not to hurt your credit is don't close a card after you've paid it off. Just leave it open. It's like curling, just like let it go, just let it sit out there and help your utilization rate. Do not close cards that are paid off if you care about your credit score.
Yeah, that sounds like opposite land, but you're playing two different games. You can do stuff that you think, like Dave Ramsey says, is best for your personal finances, but that doesn't mean it's best for your financial health. If you're going to be alive in America and you're going to have money and credit, access to credit, everything else, and you want good interest rates, then you got to play the game. It's just a game.
Here's my theory or take on it. If you have Dave Ramsey's money, then Dave Ramsey's advice on credit is fine. But until you get to Dave Ramsey's level, his advice on credit should be taken with a grain of, well, that's coming from a guy that doesn't need credit.
Yeah, his whole thing about debit cards and, closing the cards and stuff.
Oh, I'll just buy the whole apartment building if they won't lease an apartment to me. Well, that's great, Dave. I'm glad you have the ability to do that. But most of us peons might need to have a decent credit score to lease an apartment.
Right.
You can't just write a check and buy the building. It's like, dude, when I heard that, when he did that a couple of years ago, and he's telling the story about how it's so stupid. And I agree with him on it's pretty much a shell game and a scam, but it's the system that we've all agreed upon for the most part. But to come out and be like, well, I'll just write a check and buy the building. It's like, dude, how out of touch are you?
Apparently, a couple $100,000 or $1 million worth out of touch.
I wouldn't give a shit about my credit score either if I could just write a check and buy the building. It's like, oh, you won't lease me this apartment? Well, thank you very much. I'll just own them all.
So the reason why it's insane to close your oldest accounts is 10%, 15% of your credit score is the length of time that you've had a credit history or the length of time that an account has been open. And 35% is your payment history on that card. Now, keep in mind, you have an old card that's got a really high interest rate. Don't close the card. Just maybe don't use it. Or, use it once every 6 months and make a small transaction on it and pay it off immediately. But don't close it.
Yeah. Or put your Netflix subscription on it or whatever and just set the automatic payment to pay the balance in full every month. And so, it keeps it active, but you're not paying any interest. Now, there are times where you may want to close a card if you just absolutely hate that card or there's a really high annual fee and you don't even use the perks or
but there's
anything.
a trick there, too.
That is true. As soon as he stops choking on his French fry, he's going to tell you the trick if you have a card with an annual fee and you've had good history on it, but you don't want to pay the annual fee anymore.
All right. So the trick is, I'm not done yet.
You want me to tell him the trick?
No, I got it now.
Okay.
All right. So the trick is, like, I had no, you better do it.
Steve just muted out. So the trick is, most of the time you can actually downgrade that card. A lot of creditors like American Express or Chase, if they'll have their flagship cards or their higher end cards, or they have more perks and more points and more cash advance, and they charge an annual fee in exchange for that. A lot of times they'll have lower tiered cards that don't come with an annual fee that you can just ask them to downgrade the card. So you're not closing that card. You just downgrade it. So you keep the history.
Keep the history.
You keep all the benefits of it, but you get rid of the annual fee that you don't want to pay because you don't use those perks anymore.
So just this year, I had a card that decided they wanted to raise their annual fee to, I think it was $5.95. And I saw that and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I called them. They tried to talk me out of it, but we got to the point where I just downgraded it to a regular card, kept all the history and everything else, and I don't get those perks, but big deal.
I did that with my American Express Platinum card because they were going up to something. This was a couple of years ago, like $500 or $600 a year.
Yeah.
And they have all, don't get me wrong, Amex had all these great perks and all that stuff. But for that specific card, it was mainly geared towards travel, plane tickets and lounges and rental cars and all that stuff. And I don't travel that much. And when I do, I'm usually, Steve, rolling the fifth wheel, going to baseball tournaments or softball tournaments. And so we usually go as a family and we drive to the East Coast with the fifth wheel or whatever. And we stay for a month or whatever it's going to be. We don't do a lot of flying. We do some, but not a lot. So it was at a point where I'm like, I'm paying $600 for a card that, if you use this stuff, it would be worth it, but I don't really use it. So I called up Amex and I just asked about, hey, look, I don't really want to pay the $600 fee. And they're like, well, you can downgrade to the gold card. And that was like half the fee. So it was like $250 or something like that.
Yeah,
but the gold card, all the benefits and perks were not geared towards the same things. And it was geared more towards things that I would actually use and get, a return from.
Yeah, like those gift cards that you get.
Oh, dude, we used to cash in Home Depot cards like every month. I mean, we never spend cash at Home Depot. It's just Amex gift card, Home Depot gift cards that I would get from the cash back and all that stuff. So, but the point is, they'll gladly downgrade you rather than have you close the account completely.
So let me give an example about utilization. That's the second part of this. Let's say you have two cards. One card has a $5,000 limit. The other card has the same limit. So you've got total available between the two cards is $10,000. You carry a $2,000 balance on the first card. Your utilization rate is 20%, right? $2,000 out of $10,000. You decide you're going to close one of the cards. Well, now that drops your total available credit to $5,000. You still owe the two. Now your utilization rate is 40%. So if you go closing cards and you have a balance on any of them, now it's like you're putting a double nail in your credit score coffin.
Yeah, and it gets worse because as that utilization starts to creep up, and especially if you have a self-inflicted wound by closing cards and making it creep up, the more it creeps up, the more likely another creditor is going to look at that and go, oh, because it's going to pull down your score as the utilization creeps up. So some creditor that you have might do a random credit check and look, hey, his score has gone down, his utilization's going up.
Yeah,
Looks
something's
like
going
he's living
on.
beyond his he's living beyond his means there. Maybe we don't want quite as much exposure on this particular client. So the card that we had a $10,000 available limit, let's go ahead and knock that down to 5.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that act makes your utilization go even higher. And then the next creditor sees that and it looks even worse than it did to the first creditor. So they drop theirs. And all of a sudden you're sitting there just watching your score drop and you're not doing anything, but you're in this vicious cycle of as your utilization rises, even through no fault of your own, your score drops and then more creditors tend to jump into the like, hey, wait, we don't want to have any exposure here either. And then before you know it, you went from 30% utilization to 80% utilization with the exact same amount of debt.
Yeah, I want you to think like a creditor. All right. So creditors are monitoring credit scores, credit reports, all that stuff algorithmically, right? So they've got computer programs that are monitoring this. And you
say that fast 3 times.
Yeah.
Algorithmically.
Oh, hey, it took me a long time to figure out how to spell the word algorithm. But you can see how if they're monitoring things, just with the computer, and they see these transactions, how that could trigger these kinds of things happening. This doesn't mean you're out of control, your personal finances are going down the tubes, doesn't mean you're not following the Dave Ramsey thing. It just means all the triggers are there that cause this to happen. So if you know that's potentially going to happen, don't do it.
Yeah. Just don't close cards right after you pay them off. Just leave them open.
Yeah. I think I still have my oldest card. My oldest card that I have open, I think, has a 35-year history on it. I never use it, but I don't close it either.
Nice.
And they raised my rate on, my limit on it, like some insane limit. Like, thanks.
Yeah. They're like, are you sure you don't want to use it?
Here's a little more black tar heroin. Just a taste, Steve. Just a taste.
Cut me off a slice.
So let's get into why smart people think they could DIY their way out.
Why, Steve?
High earners are used to being the experts in the room. They have a lot of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. They feel like nothing's going to stop me, and asking for help feels like admitting failure or incompetence. I can do this. I'm smart. I mean, there's always Reddit, right?
Don't get your advice on how to get out of debt on Reddit. You want to read it, fine, but I've seen so many people. Well, I read on Reddit that you just don't pay them, and then eventually they'll be so desperate, you'll get like a 10 cent on the dollar offer.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for that, and now I got 4 lawsuits.
Yeah. So, oftentimes what happens is the situation starts as a nag in your head. Like, things are getting a little tight. I should look into that. And then a few weeks go by and things are getting tighter. And maybe I should look into that. And then all of a sudden one night, your brain just explodes in panic. And so everyone does the same thing. I'm not faulting anyone. I understand it. They panic and they go online and they find the first ad that they see that promises a magic solution. And then for some reason, all common sense and logic falls out of their head. And they just believe what the salesperson says. And now, either got the loan, the MCA, they fell into a debt relief trap or something. But instead of reaching out and coming up with a plan and consulting, like with you, Damon, and getting advice and getting a third opinion, they just wait till they come to the edge of the cliff and fall off. And it doesn't end well. So
yeah,
What DIY actually looks like is kind of what I just described. You spend months kind of, percolating, triggers your brain somehow, and then you go online and you research options. Then you think, you know what? I don't need to pay anybody. I can negotiate with my creditors myself. I read this stuff. I can get the best offers out there. Yeah, you don't know what you're doing because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know about tax implications, strategies, creditor behavior patterns. In fact, Damon, just recently, you were telling me about how more creditors seem to be keying up the lawsuits.
100%. I've been helping people with this stuff for 25 years, and creditors are more litigious now than ever. And it doesn't mean you panic about that. It just means you have to have a plan and be prepared and understand, well, which creditors are aggressive and how litigious are they going to get? And am I going to get sued, or what kind of timeline am I looking at? I mean, heck, even when you buy a piece of furniture and put it together yourself, you still follow a set of instructions.
That's a good one.
You
I
still
like
get
that.
some guidance.
Yeah.
Even though you're not paying somebody to come over and assemble the furniture, we're not saying you can't do anything yourself.
I'm going to make a stick figure guide about how to get out of debt.
Yeah, but if you're gonna take on creditors, at minimum get some advice before you do it and say, hey, someone like me, hey, Damon, can you look at my situation and tell me what my options are here? And I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about that? How's that going to look for me?
Right.
The nice thing about what I do is, if clients want my help, number one, I do a free consult in the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm a talker, Steve, you know that. So I give a ton of information. Whether a client hires me or not, that's up to them later. But that first phone call, I do it for free, and I'm an open book. I'm just like blah 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 blah. Some people get enough information with that. Unfortunately, that's kind of my problem. I think is I give them enough to be dangerous to themselves, and then they go like, "Oh, I got this figured out now." And hey, you do you, boo. I wouldn't recommend that, but
yeah.
But at minimum, you need to get some advice from someone that's been there, done that, got the t-shirt and hat to match, can tell you the pitfalls that you're running into, because I can tell you for sure, most of you have no earthly idea what the hell you're doing out there. I know that because I hear you when you call and you say, I'm thinking about doing this. And again, I don't judge. And I say, well, we could go that way, but here's a few things we should consider first, right? And it doesn't hurt to get that information before you haul off and, do something that's going to hurt.
Last week you were damn it, Damon. This week you're blah, 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 Damon.
Blah, 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 blah. Damn it, Damon, give me some advice. So the bottom line is, we're not saying you cannot do it yourself or negotiate debts or come up with a plan to get yourself out, but you want to go about it in an intelligent way.
With a plan.
The best way to do that is talk to somebody that can give you a strategy for your specific situation. And that's what I do. That's very different. When you call a bankruptcy attorney, you call a credit counseling company, you call a debt settlement. I don't care who you call a debt consolidator, whatever. Nobody does that. And I can confidently say that.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to sit down with you and help you come up with a strategy. They're going to sit down with you and sell you the strategy that they have. That's what they do.
Yeah,
so if that's what you want, then fine. But if you want an actual plan, call me.
What's funny is that if you said to somebody, I think you should go to the Ford dealer and ask them about which Chevy model you should buy.
Yeah.
They would go, that's ridiculous. You're stupid. That's nonsensical. Yet, okay, what? You should go to any debt relief company and ask them about your other options in other companies. They're going to sell you the Ford.
Every company's the best.
Right.
Every company you call is the best. They have the best plan. They don't know shit about your situation, but they got the best solution already.
Yeah, and just today I've been writing 2 guides about how to see through Trustpilot ratings and BBB reviews.
That's all bullshit. That if you have that philosophy, you'll do well in life. Everything is bullshit.
Yeah.
Done. Simple. All right, that's bullshit. And unless proven otherwise, it's bullshit.
Yeah. Let's buy the Ford.
We need to get the domain, bullshit.com.
I'm sure somebody has that already. I want to get dammitdamon.com.
That might be available
No.
until somebody hears this podcast.
Well, they can
then
have
we're going
it.
to get extorted. Oh, you want damondamon.com?
No, I don't.
I'll gladly give it to you for $5,000.
Well, I'm going to register blah, 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 Damon.com.
That one's available, faux show.
Oh, I can only get it in .net.
.biz.
Yeah. Oh,
standing on
God,
business.
there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
So
None
the
of
other
them caught on.
the other thing that happens when you try to DIY it yourself is research, think you come up with a solution, and then you just hit that wall of I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. I don't want to make it worse. And so what happens is nothing happens. And more time passes and it gets worse, not better.
Well, we have a word for that. Well, it's multiple words. Paralysis of analysis.
Yep.
And you want to what if it to death. And I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And, I also get quite often, well, I can't afford to pay these debts. So I'm just going to let them go. I'm going to see what happens. And it's again, well, that's one way to go.
Yeah. And I'm worried about my credit.
Yeah. Or we can come up with a plan before you let everything go, because sometimes there are things that we can and should do.
Yeah.
While you still have good credit, that we can be doing. Maybe it's investing in your business and trying to generate more cash flow. A lot of things that we can talk about. The bottom line is you have the most options right now. Every time you implement something, I'm going to try this or I'm going to do that, that takes away options. If you come to me after you've exhausted all the options you can think of, I can still help you, but the options that I can help you with are more limited than they were if you came to me when you first went, I think I got an issue.
Right.
Before I start throwing crap at the wall, maybe I should talk to someone like Damon and get some ideas why I still have plenty of options on the table before I close those doors unknowingly.
All right. Well, hopefully if you've been listening this far, you might have had that little debt nag in your head. It's time to reach out to Damon. And look, I'm not trying to push Damon on you.
Sounds like you are, Steve.
I know it does, but I've known Damon for, I guess we're coming up on 2 decades now or something. And Damon is one of the best debt coaches out there. I'd rather see you get an independent, free opinion from him than falling into one of these traps that just doesn't end well for anybody.
And you will find my opinion makes a hell of a lot more sense than anybody else you're going to call. It may sound like I'm being braggadocious, but I've been doing this a long time. I know what's out there. Feel free to call as many people as you want and then call me and you'll hang up the phone and go, that fucking guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. or you know
Sorry.
what? You know what? I have this free contract decoder on the website. So if you're talking to a debt relief company and they're trying to sell you something and you got to sign up today and everything else, ask them for a PDF copy of the contract. And you can go to my site, getoutofdebt.org, find the contract decoder, upload it, and it'll break it down into plain English. But what you will hear first, most often, is, oh yeah, we can't send that to you.
Yeah.
Why not?
And if they do, great. That way you can actually look at it, because often what's in the fine print and pages of it doesn't exactly match the sales pitch that you're getting. Why not?
All right, Damon, is there more that you want to share on DIY, or shall we transition?
Well, we skipped a couple of those things, but I mean, if you want to just bullet point some of the stuff as far as like, what professionals can actually provide, or we can just skip it and just go with, look, it's a free call. If you got questions, I got answers. Give me a call. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, Damon Day, DamonDay.com. So, in January, we gave you knowledge to understand your situation. Now, we're thinking that we gave you enough knowledge that you might be thinking, I can do this. I can DIY my way out. Well, we're going to proceed, because next month, so be sure you subscribe. Whatever platform you're listening on right now, hit subscribe or follow or whatever the button is, because March is here, right around the corner. You know what that means? Tax season. And next week, we're going to get ahead of that dangerous myth, the idea that your tax refund is going to save you. God, it happens every year. Your tax refund won't save you. We'll talk about the math and show you exactly why waiting for April is a mistake.
Yeah, thinking your tax refund will save you is the same thinking of this consolidation loan is going to fix it.
Right.
It's the same thing. Call me before you use your tax refund to just pay off some credit card debt. Call me first while you still have the cash, right? So we're 2 months in and you've been with me since December. You've already learned more than most people will ever know about debt. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Keep listening. Let's figure it out. Honest self-assessment time. Have you been figuring it out yourself for more than 3 months without significant process? Yep, without significant progress. I cannot read today either. Without significant progress. If yes, maybe it's time to at least explore professional help, a la moi.
Blah, 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 blah. That Damon.
Schedule a free consultation somewhere this week, preferably with me, but you do you, boo, just to see what's out there.
You don't get extra points for suffering alone. That's silly. Don't do that. Getting help is not weakness, it's wisdom. The strongest people know when to call in reinforcements. I'll get my new lips in next week.
48-hour fast.
Yeah. Damon, until next time, I will see ya.
Blah, 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 blah. Peace.